Now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
All right, Ken, thanks very much. Good evening, everyone. It's a Sunday night, part of our doubleheader today. We were on the air after the game. We're on the air now, taking your calls, your opinions, your tweets. It's 412-575-2600 right here on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Bordas and Bordas Hotline. We'll be here until 11 o'clock and then join us late tonight. It'll be around midnight for the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown due to the length of the Jaguars game against New England. And did you see that game? Jacksonville looks good once again, and Blake Bortles over 300 yards, 4 touchdown passes. The Steelers got problems, and their defense needs to change dramatically and soon because they're going to be ripped apart by who have longer resumes than what we saw today. And what can you say about Patrick Mahomes and his only a second career start? Comes into Pittsburgh after throwing for 4 touchdowns on the road last week. He throws for 6 today. And consider this, only 2 quarterbacks now in the history of the Steelers franchise have thrown for 6 touchdowns against them in one game. First one was Jim Kelly back, in 1990 or 91, and now this, Patrick Mahomes in 2018. And quite frankly, Kansas City just went up and down the field at their leisure. 6 touchdowns on their first 8 possessions, and one of those ended with the half. So the Steelers could not cover. They could not put pressure. They didn't do anything. And on top of that, the discipline continues to be a big problem. 12 penalties last week, 12 more this week, 206 yards of penalties. They come in inopportune times. Bud Dupree had more penalties than tackles, it appeared out there. They just have a lot of things that need to be resolved. And then there is more drama involved with Antonio Brown, who not only didn't like what was going on, he got into the face of Randy Fichtner today. We've seen that before on the sidelines. And then when Roethlisberger scored a touchdown, which gave them life at 42-37, and still plenty of time left with 3 timeouts, instead of going with the rest of his team, he kind of walked off the field. He left the field with, at the end of the game, snapped his helmet off, did not talk to reporters, which he's obligated to do after a game. So there continues to be more problems there with whatever is going through Antonio Brown's head at this point. So these are things that need to be solved. And then tonight, once again, Twitter strikes. Bud Dupree apparently reacted to someone on a DM. Someone was, and it's a negative spot, Twitter. So if you're an athlete, you should just stay away from it and not respond to it. Dupree, however, did and got into an exchange with a guy. And these are the kinds of things that I think the team that has now been nicknamed Team Turmoil better get figured out quickly, because they go into a schedule that features a lot of backs around the NFL. And if Mahomes could do what he did today, you know, they have Drew Brees on the schedule, they have Tom Brady on the schedule, you know, Joe Flacco, Andy Dalton's on that schedule, as well as Cam Newton, Matt Ryan, and I'll include Bortles. And how about next week? You got Ryan Fitzpatrick. Who would have thought he'd be dressing like Conor McGregor after a game and looking like, okay, I'm money, baby. And he is so far. He got forced into start because of the suspension to Jameis Winston. And what's he done in 2 games? He's the first quarterback ever to throw for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns in the first 2 games of a regular season. And so that's what the Steelers have to do next week, going Monday night to Tampa Bay, and that won't be an easy assignment. So we're here to take your calls on what you think needs to happen and what has to happen pretty quickly. They're 0-1-1. And teams that start 0-2 typically don't have a really good shot at making playoffs. It's been done before, but the odds are stacked against you. If they start 0-2-1, you know, that's a dangerous slope to go down. 412-575-2600. Chris Boswell's been part of the problem, too. Special teams in general. They gave up a big punt return of 53 yards. Jordan Berry has been very erratic with his punting. And Boswell, after he signs the big deal, you know, he missed only 3 field goals all of last year. Already this year, he's 0 for 2, and then you throw in a missed extra point. That's simply not what you'd expect from a guy who's been so reliable like Chris Boswell has been. So we have a lot to cover there. Give me your take and join us for the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. It gets pretty lively tonight with Colin Dunlap, Jeff Hathorn, and Mark Caboli of The Athletic. We'll be talking about these very topics and more. Also, the Pirates, you know, not many people are paying attention, but you should pay attention to Trevor Williams. He has been outstanding. You can argue the best pitcher in the majors since the start of the second half of the season. Won his 13th game today. He's been a bugaboo for the Brewers. 6 shutout innings. They took a 3-0 lead into the bottom of the ninth. Back-to-back home runs by the Brew Crew. Just made it closer. But Trevor Williams and Jamison Tyone have been lights out, which leads to the question, what do they do in the offseason in terms of helping this offense? They got to spend some money, bring in some legitimate bats, because they're going to, if they don't, they're going to be, on the losing end of a lot of 2-1, 3-2 games next year, and you can't afford to have that. Starting pitching looks better going into next year. They got a closer. They got Kella to set up the closer. They got some decent pitchers there. We'll also talk about the Penguins. I'd like to get your take on Daniel Sprong being given the first opportunity on Sidney Crosby's line with Jake Gensel. They have a lot of options there. They're a loaded team, very deep. We'll see what happens as time goes on. My question for you, if you call on Daniel Sprong, is how much time should he be given to show that he either belongs or doesn't belong on that top line? It's 412-575-2600. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. We'll take the calls and the tweets next, right here live on Pittsburgh's CW. The Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call is brought to you by Ireland Contracting, putting new roofs on Pittsburgh homes for over 25 years. Call Ireland Contracting at 1-800-NEW-ROOF.